Durant with the Alouettes against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The call from Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter.
Thank you, Rod. On the day old mosaic was brought down, a former Rider hero returns to Saskatchewan. Darian Durant of the Alouettes tackle the Roughriders at New Mosaic. A special evening as the 12-year Rider returned home to this reception moments ago.
Fans, as the Alouettes take the field, the Saskatchewan Roughriders ask you to join them in giving a warm welcome to a man who will always be part of Rider history.
Well-deserved standing ovation and some emotion from the returning hero.
127 starts for Darian Durant, 113 as the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Rider fans did it right. It was a classic.
And we're underway as Taylor Russolino has kicked it off, and they're going to get him to re-kick it here. As I'm not sure play had been whistled in. Christian Jones and Greg Morris has dropped deep. Boris Beattie not available tonight, so the Alouettes with a new kicker. These two teams met back in the season opener. A one-point Alouette win on a missed field goal at the end of the game, and we saw a different kind of emotion that night from Darian Durant. Alouettes on a 9-game losing streak. The Roughriders at 9-7. And it's Christian Jones on the return. And he'll bring it out beyond the 40. And still going before he is brought down around the 45-yard line. So good field position for the first start of the night for Kevin Glenn.
Start 207 for Kevin Glenn. He is 13-15 against Montreal. Played on a lot of teams, of course. 8-7 this year. And Kevin Glenn and the winning formula for Saskatchewan has been of late. Start Kevin Glenn and go to Brandon Bridge if you need to go to the bullpen. And it's happened early a couple of times.
Yeah, 2 of the last 3 games for Glenn. Trent Richardson, the running back. And they start with a fly sweep to the flying Hawaiian, and Chad Owens brought down around the 49-yard line. Has 4 as we set the Rough Rider offense for you.
Well, last week against Calgary in the win in Calgary, Deron Carter started at corner. He'll be back on offense. May play a little corner tonight, but they're saying he's back on offense as a starter. We'll see more of Trent Richardson resting Cameron Marshall, and look at this matchup with Thaddeus Coleman up against the veteran in John Bowman.
Market close to the 50, so 2nd and 5. Glenn double pumps, throws complete. Caleb Hawley's got the catch, drilled by Greg Henderson, and they're going to mark it right near midfield. It's going to be within the length of a football of a first down.
34-year-old John Bowman. It's familiar.
First down, Saskatchewan.
It's familiar with playing against Glenn. Comes on an early stunt. Montreal sending some pressure and got there just a second after Glenn threw the football.
Those two guys well acquainted with each other.
Great play. I'm going to start the campaign right now for John Bowman to come back for another year.
Swing the ball to Chad Owens. And Owens got a couple of yards to the Alouette 48. Nick Boulay, the tackle. Here's the Alouettes on defense.
7 sacks this season. That leads the Montreal Alouettes for the 12-year veteran. All 12 years, of course, in Montreal. Kyrose Bear, 103 tackles. He leads the team in that regard. And in the secondary, 2 interceptions for Jonathan Mincy on the corner.
Devon Campbell, the former Rough Rider. If your campaign doesn't work, I'll start the campaign for John Bowman Hall of Fame. Okay. There's Picard started the night 31 away from his first 1,000-yard season, and he just cut that in half or so with, well, we'll call it 14 for Grant, and another first down as he gets a little closer.
Yeah, I mentioned that the winning formula for Saskatchewan has been to start with Kevin Glenn and then go to Brandon Bridge in 2 of the last 3 games, the Toronto game, the Calgary game. Both those games were on the road. Kevin Glenn has been playing very well, a lot better at home here at the new Mosaic Stadium.
Greg Morris checks into the game. Trent Richardson still the back, but they'll swing it to Morris. And Morris dropped around the 35-yard line. Kai Bear in the neighborhood, the 37-year-old middle linebacker. So a 2-back set for the Roughriders there.
Tough season for Montreal. Some of these veterans, John Bowman, Kai Bear, no Chip Cox in the lineup tonight.
And Bowman getting attention as he went off after that play. So 2nd and 9 from the Montreal 35. They send pressure. It's for Bagg and overthrows the intended target. It'll be 3rd down. Devon Campbell there in coverage against the veteran Rob Bagg, and the field goal unit will come on for the Roughriders.
It was the safety Brandon Dozier that was coming from the safety spot on a blitz, and it looked like Kevin Glenn just rushed that throw and overthrew Rob Bagg. Last week targeted 4 times and didn't have 1 catch.
So it's Krapina from the 43-yard line, 6 for 8 from beyond 40, and he's missed this to the right. Stefan Logan is going to bring it out. Gets 1 block, got a crease, but also a flag. And so he'll be brought down at the 30. But a flag will negate the return. We'll see Darian Durant for the first time in visiting colors on Saskatchewan turf when we come back to Mosaic. Well, he was at the controls of the greatest moment in Saskatchewan Roughrider history.
I really think it was a 2013 Grey Cup championship against Hamilton at the old Mosaic Stadium that just went down. The final grandstands collapsed earlier this afternoon. Greatest moment in Rider history, no question.
Alouettes start at their 3 after an illegal block penalty. Durant going deep, incomplete. Trying to make a connection with B.J. Cunningham. If George Reed says it's the greatest moment in Saskatchewan Roughrider history, we're not going to argue.
Absolutely, and I agree too. And, you know, I know there's been debate about the '89 game, and that was an exciting football game, but the greatest moment in Rider history in my mind is that 2013 playoff run by Durant, culminating in the Grey Cup championship at home.
For 2nd and 10. Ball at the 2. 4-man rush. Durant stands in, and he's got Nick Lewis, and Lewis, who might be playing in his final Canadian Football League game tonight, has the catch. Does he have enough for a first down? Enoch Mwamba the tackle.
You know, a good season for Nick Lewis. Starts to the left of your screen, crossing route, goes to the 2nd hole in the zone defense and makes his 71st catch of the campaign.
Catch number 1,049, and it's going to require a measurement. Not sure if he'll play next week. Not sure if this is it for Nick Lewis, but it's pointing that way, and it's going to be 3rd down and inches, and they're going to stay on the field.
It all started back in 2004 for Nick Lewis.
Here's a question for you. If they were still in the playoff hunt, do you go 3rd and inches from the 12-yard line? They're 20 of 21 on 3rd and short, and another former Rough Rider into the game at quarterback. It's Drew Willie calling the signals. And off the left side, didn't need much, didn't get much. Looked like he headed west instead of north.
He headed west, got a little push with forward progress, and then got pushed back. It depends on the spot.
Rough Rider defense coming off the field. They think they've got to stop, and the chains are coming back. Following Sean Jamieson, a rookie playing guard. In fact, there are 4 different former starters out, and they have turned it over on downs. Doesn't look like he got more than an inch or 2.
Got to be decisive on the quarterback sneak right in behind. You either follow your center. If you're going to go sideways, it's always a risk that that penetration from the defensive line is going to stop that play, and that's exactly how the Rider defense gets the stop.
Jeff Knox Jr. makes the play in. Rough Riders offense comes onto the field, 1st and 10 at the Alouette 12-yard line. John Bowman back in the game, double tight end formation. Handed off again to Owens with a cutback. Chad Owens scrambling down inside the 5.
That's a gift for the Rider offense to get that stop on defense on downs and get the ball on the doorstep. Vernon Adams, the quarterback, running that option series. This time it's the give to Chad Owens, but he has the option to ride it with Chad Owens, pull the football, and take it himself.
Kevin Glenn checks back in. Of the 30 points last week the Rough Riders scored in Calgary, none were scored with either Kevin Glenn or Brandon Bridge at quarterback. There's Richardson inside. Trent Richardson trying to pull his way in, and he'll get stopped. And Brandon Stewart moved up from his secondary position.
You know, Brent Richardson's going to get the football, and he has improved, slowly improved throughout his 3 starts or his 3 games as a Saskatchewan Rough Rider. But yesterday in our sit-downs with Chris Jones, he talked about Trent Richardson seeing the ball a lot more tonight, see what he can do. Bigger sample size, but he's got to stop dancing in the hole. He's got to hit those holes hard like he did back at Alabama or in the NFL.
Dozier helped prevent the touchdown, but it's 1st and goal from the 1. Richardson again.
There you go.
Touchdown.
There you go.
Pulled his way in that time over Poulet for his 1st Canadian Football League touchdown.
And there is the difference. There is the difference. It's maybe a small, subtle thing, but Jones said yesterday, don't dance in the hole. Lower your pad level, hit it, and if you get hit in the hole, drive your legs. If you don't, you're going to have a big gain. This time, on the 2nd try, Richardson drops the pad level and drives himself across the goal line. In bed, Chris Jones went right up to him and said, that's what we're talking about.
Play. Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan, number 68. 15 yards we applied on a kickoff. Result of the play is a touchdown.
So penalty against the right tackle, Thaddeus Coleman.
Nice job, Trent. Hey, boy.
Pignon looking for the convert. After the miss in the 43-yard field goal, still perfect on converts this year. And a flag on the convert as well. Looks like preliminary indication offside Montreal.
Offside, Montreal, number 32. The convert is good. 5 yards to be applied on the kickoff.
So Tavon Campbell offside. Trent Richardson into the end zone. First score of the game goes to Saskatchewan after the turnover on downs at the Montreal 12-yard line.
Receiver on the D-ball.
7-0 Roughriders as Tyler Crapina gets set to kick it off, and this will be Logan fielding it at the 23. And Logan cuts it outside, brought down around the 40-yard line, so different field position for the second possession for Darian Durant and the Alouettes.
Sort of sums up this Montreal season. 3 wins, 13 losses so far. The last
On
time.
the return, holding Montreal, number 31. 10-yard penalty, first down, Montreal.
Last time that they won back in mid-August.
Mikhail Charlon, the penalty on the play.
There's Nick Lewis, the veteran. Maybe his last game. This is where it started for him back in '04. Number 1 receiver, B.J. Cunningham. Xavier Fulton, the former Saskatchewan Roughrider, has graded out around 90% in the last couple of games. He's still playing hard up front, trying to protect Darian Durant. Or Drew Willie when he started a couple.
So they start at the 31, fake to Sutton, and Durant on a roll, and throws incomplete, intended for Ernest Jackson, who can't hold on.
Defensively for the Saskatchewan Roughriders up front. Now this is going to be a debate maybe we can have later in the show, but who is their defensive nominee? Willie Jefferson, maybe Enoch Mwamba at the middle linebacker spot, could be Canadian as well, or do you pick Ed Gainey, who has 9 interceptions and leads the league in that category?
Not to Ron Carter?
He played pretty well, and he's back on the corner right now.
Well, that didn't take long. 2nd and 10. And a pass intended for Cunningham. That's been intercepted, and it's intercepted by Ed Gainey, and Ed Gainey's just hit double figures on the year to enhance his defensive credentials. That's number 10. So back-to-back turnovers, the first on downs, and Darian Durant's just thrown his 16th interception of the year, stolen away by Gainey against Cunningham. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
This is going to stand very close to a simultaneous catch, but Gainey will get number 10. Had number 10 in Calgary, wasn't called back.
10 picks. I need more. I need money. I need about 11.
Look at to match his jersey number with the 11th. He's got multiple picks 3 times this year.
Back-to-back takeaways, back-to-back starts in Montreal territory, and a flag here as Dozier got to Owens before the football arrived. And a pass interference call against the Alouette safety.
Well, that timing looked pretty good to me.
Pass interference, Montreal. Point of foul, automatic first down.
If it was early, it was just early. Take a look right at the top of your screen. That's Chad Owens on the post. Dozier right behind him. Oh, just a... Boy. I'm not sure Kavis Reed would use a challenge here. Called pass interference, but the ball looked like it arrived just as his shoulder hit Chad Owens.
First down, Richardson again, and he's trying to drive his way in. Forward progress stop. Brandon Stewart hanging on. He's fired up.
Let's go back to that Ed Gainey interception. There's his target, Darian Durant's target. There's Gainey. He's looking like he's going to play off as if he's in deep coverage. Then he plants the right foot in the ground and drives back on the football nicely. Now it's simultaneous till there. If the knee touches and they're both holding the football, it goes to the offense. But they determined that Gainey had ripped it out just before the right knee touched by B.J. Cunningham.
Second and goal. They go back to Richardson again off the right side. Not going to get there. It's been stout on defense down inside the 10. Reggie Northrup and Jesse Joseph.
Well, this Montreal defense put in tough situations back to back here. Backed up against their old goal line. And 2 turnovers.
Third down, they're going to leave the offense on. The fans like this decision from Chris Jones.
Again, if it's a playoff game, probably a different decision.
Haven't missed on one of these yet. 15 for 15. Going to throw. And it's a touchdown. Wide open. Chad Owens first as a Saskatchewan Roughrider.
Set it up here, Chris, with Chad Owens in the run game early in this one, and then go to a nice pick or rub, I guess it was called, because there's no flag from the Saskatchewan receivers, and Chad Owens was wide open. Wide open.
2 for 2 in the red zone. Touchdowns off a couple of Montreal turnovers here in the opening quarter. Convert good from Carpina. And it's an early 14-0 lead. Chad Owens hits pay dirt for the first time in green and white.
Joshua Stanford gets the assist here as he comes down here and runs this route and takes both defenders with him, with Chad Owens pushing to the flat or pushing to the sideline. Watch Stanford, little juke up there, takes both defenders with him, and there is Chad Owens absolutely wide open, and Kevin Glenn lobs it into him. Brandon Stewart seen this before, he just got caught.
Hey, we back, man. We back.
Big game for Owens.
We are rolling.
In game 1 against Calgary.
We rolling. Hey.
Just 9 first quarter points in the last 6 for the Roughriders. That tune has changed here so far tonight. TJ Graham again drops deep along with Logan. The veteran Logan, 4th in the league in all-purpose yards, gets out beyond the 30, and this time no flags as we go to the sidelines. Here's Lee Jones.
Well, with that Ed Gainey interception, Darian Durant has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns in a season for the first time in his career, and he admits it's tough this season. He doesn't like losing, he doesn't like missing the playoffs, but he says he has never once looked back in the past and wondered what would have happened if he stayed in Saskatchewan. He enjoys the people and he enjoys the work environment in Montreal, a feeling he said he never had with Saskatchewan last year. And by the way, we saw the emotion of him earlier in the game with the video acceptance that they had about how he played, but he didn't really talk much about his emotions yesterday. Nick Lewis did say, though, he believes they can win this football game. This team believes he can win this football game, and there's no pressure on Durant's shoulders coming back to Saskatchewan.
Just got their initial first down of the game on that completion to P.J. Cunningham. 40 yards away from 1,000 for Cunningham prior to that reception. You see a lot of the number 4s still in the stands here at Mosaic. First down, and there's Sutton.
Well, Chris,
their left side.
I mean, Chris, think about that run from 2009 in Saskatchewan with Darian Durant to 2013 and that championship game at the old Mosaic Stadium. 21,000 plus yards passing, 121 touchdown passes, 44 wins with the 3 cup appearances. Really should have had 2 wins. Of course, there was the too many men penalty in 09. Lost by a field goal in 2010 in the Grey Cup against Montreal, and then won it in 13. But quite a run for those 5 years.
3-man front in a passing situation. They sent Casey Rogers quarter blitz, and he has the knockdown.
They sort of brought this play in, Chris Jones did, when they moved Duron Carter to the corner. Now Casey Rogers is back on the corner. He's the starter there. And they thought, well, it doesn't have to be Duron Carter that we send. It can be Casey Rogers. You won't see him, but he's coming off this edge. Here he comes. There's 45 clean from the corner spot.
So Taylor Russolino, the rookie, putting it away. Christian Jones, who just went over 1,000 return yards in his first 9 CFL games, brings it back across the 30. And the Roughriders go back to work on offense with a 2-touchdown lead here early in this game.
Mentioned Duron Carter getting the start against Bo Levi Mitchell and the Calgary Stampeders after a Twitter battle, and played pretty well. The question for me was, will he be able to tackle? Brought down Jerome Messam a couple of times, and there's the pick. It was a throw I know Bo Levi Mitchell would like back. And we just had a feeling Carter, once he got the ball in his hands, was going to score, and he did. Pick 6 in his first start on the corner at any level of football, and said he graded out at 89%.
It's an interesting number, but the best grade he'd had all year. Flag on the return, a holding call against Saskatchewan, against Creston Butler. So worst field position start for Saskatchewan. Well, it was going to be anyway. They started on the Alouette side at half the first 2 times. Playing the slant in. Chad Owens up close to a first down. Duron Carter scoring as a defensive and offensive player. Not many distinguished players get to do that, but I'm working with a guy who actually, I didn't know you played offense, but the guys did some deep digging, and
wow.
Do you remember that?
Wow, you had to dig deep for that. I do. It was a fake. It was a field goal fake, I believe. I guess considered an offensive play.
An old black and white picture back then. I don't know if they had color back then.
Yeah, my 40 time was forever that night.
Oh, that ball almost intercepted. Well, we went back and found some Zapruder film of was
Zapruder.
All play.
Oh yeah, high knees 2-7. Let's get around that edge.
Boy, an old running back. Pretty good.
Boy, you guys had to dig
so
for that.
Duron Carter and Glenn Suter.
By the way, it wasn't funny when you took the hourglass and turned it upside down to test my 40 time there.
Glenn wants to throw back, and that didn't work. John Bowman was all over Spencer Moore, who looked like the intended target. And it will be 3rd down. So the Alouettes should get it back in good field position. We'll give Steve Daniel, our crack statistician at the Canadian Football League, for helping find that gem.
That was in slow motion, right? That shot, because it really looks slow. Oh.
A lot of moving parts there on 3rd and 10. And we'll discuss, because there was a lot of movement on the Saskatchewan line. Had they not set, though, and was that intended to draw Montreal offside?
It looked like it was. It looked like the personal protectors were trying to, that's the line behind the actual line of scrimmage. Moved quickly.
Offside. Montreal. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
I may have, if it was on purpose, though, I may have been, from Saskatchewan's point of view, more inclined to do that on 3rd and 4 rather than 3rd and 10. But gained 5 yards of field position.
Short kick from Trapina. It bounces around the 50. Couple of hops for Logan. Trying to scramble outside, but he is pulled down quickly by Toby Antigua. 38-yard punt. And a flag on the play. Bartel was up there, and so they may pick that flag up. So there is no flag. It was Josh Bartel. And yesterday we asked Darian Durant about how this game might be received.
It's going to be a special moment. You know, it's just coincidental, like you said, that I'm in town as the stadium's going down. It's a special moment for sure. A lot of great Rider memories in that stadium over there. You know, I'm glad that I was able to be a part of the moment in Rider history in that stadium.
And on cue, his biggest play of the night to B.J. Cunningham, who with the catch should go over 1,000 on the season.
Deron Carter cut underneath it, but just missed it right there on the jump ball. And B.J. Cunningham not touched when he went down by contact, so he picked up a few extra yards after the catch. 43 total, biggest play for Durant.
Underneath it goes. Catch made. Terrell Sutton broke the first tackle and drives down to about the 7-yard line on what should be the final play of the first quarter. Not a great one for the visiting quarterback as the Roughriders try to spoil his return. A couple of first quarter touchdowns, and it's Saskatchewan with a 14-0 lead after 15. Two costly turnovers for Montreal in that first quarter.
It's really sum up the Montreal season, hasn't it? I mean, those two turnovers deep in their own territory when Darian Durant throws the ball 9.5 yards and Drew Willie on third down can't get a couple of inches. That turns into the first Saskatchewan major and then an interception by Durant. I mean, he will tell you, he'll be the first to tell you it's not been his best season, but it's not just been him in Montreal, that's for sure.
Wants to show he's still got a lot of good football left. It looks like it on this drive, and they get a chance to get back in the game here early in the second quarter.
Yeah, really just those two turnovers in that first quarter that were the difference makers and why Saskatchewan is up by the 2 scores. But yeah, chance right here to finish this drive and get right back in this one.
Oh, it's 2nd and 2. Back in the hands of Sutton, and he gets hit before he got to the line of scrimmage. That's Rakeem Cox, the newcomer in recent weeks at defensive tackle. And this time the kicking unit will come on.
That's a big man in there too. It's a tough guy to move out of that spot, that defensive tackle spot. And if you don't have a bubble, you don't have that little soft spot as a tailback to run in, you're getting contact behind the line of scrimmage with no momentum, and you can't get anywhere. Rakeem Cox with a big play.
Well, here's the newcomer, Taylor Russolino, with his first field goal attempt in the Canadian Football League. And he drills that through to get Montreal on the board. 14-3, a field goal after the big 43-yard play to B.J. Cunningham.
You know, when it was talked about this week that Cameron Marshall may not play much this game, just to rest him up, get him ready for the playoffs, and we knew we'd see more of Trent Richardson. I started to look at his 3 games. It's underwhelming numbers, especially against Ottawa when we got 14 carries, but look at the average, has slowly improved game in and game out as he understands the angles and the differences between the Canadian Football League and playing ball down south. But tremendous numbers as Alabama as we talked about, and I think he's just going to get better as he gets more touches. We should see him get a bunch tonight.
Well, Brandon Bridge comes into the game last week in relief, 10 of 19, 133 yards. Comes out throwing. They get the ball back in the hands of Owens, who's been busy. And Chad Owens has another first down as he gets pushed out by Greg Henderson at the Rough Rider bench.
Well, clearly, Chad Owens is the primary in this week's game plan. I mean, this offense so far in just over a quarter has just focused on number 2. Fly sweep open to the game to Owens, and touchdown to Owens.
5 touches already. He said he felt young and energetic last week. In his first game back after a year out. Rich stands in, has time. downfield. That hangs up, and it's intercepted. Henderson with the interception as he stepped in front of the intended target, Duron Carter. Two interceptions tossed last week for Bridge. Greg Henderson has his first interception of 2017. A takeaway for the Alouettes, who are on offense when we come back. Shaw Road to the Grey Cup continues tomorrow. The BC Lions taking on the Blue Bombers. First game of our doubleheader beginning at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific. And then the second half will be at Commonwealth. Stampeders Eskimos at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific across the TSN network. Now it's back on offense, and Terrell Sutton finding the going tough inside. Rakeem Cox there again to help plug up the hole.
Good interception by Greg Henderson on a ball that you know Brandon Bridge wants back. And I have a little bit of a theory on this one. There's oftentimes receivers will tell you, go ahead and throw it up and I'll make the play. Now we know Duron Carter will say that now and then to quarterbacks. I wonder if that's what happened there.
2nd and 9, 3-man rush. Durant underneath. Sutton has it, and a first down as he crashes up to the 45-yard line. 16 yards for Terrell Sutton.
Well, last 4 weeks, I mean, even though this team is not in the playoffs this year, Terrell Sutton keeps working hard. I mean, the last 4 weeks, 2 of those games of the 4, over 100 yards. He keeps chugging, he keeps chipping away, keeps working. Or what it says on the scoreboard or what it says in the standings.
First down, Montreal.
Injured Rough Rider getting attention on the field after the tackle. Trying to come up with a number here. And penalty was against Rakeem Cox. And it's Jeff Knox who's been injured. I'd like to welcome viewers of Ottawa Hamilton to Mosaic. 14-3 Saskatchewan is the score. So the Red Blacks finish 8-9-1, which sounds familiar, doesn't it? 8-9-1 for the Grey Cup champions a year ago. Here a couple of early turnovers, one on downs at the Montreal 12. An interception thrown by Darian Durant led to touchdowns for Saskatchewan. Alouettes a field goal on their last possession, and they've got the ball again up near midfield. And Chris Jones shaking his head with another injury with Knox out. There's Jeff Knox, who was in on that last tackle, replacing the injured Samuel Aguavin at the will linebacker spot.
Like he runs into Mwamba, then gets hit.
Looks like friendly fire from
his own teammate came across.
And it was, I think, Toby Antigua that did the damage. Knox makes his way to the sidelines. It'll be a first down at midfield for Montreal. So Glenn Love has to come into the game at the weak side linebacker spot. 6-year veteran out of UCLA. And they'll flip it here to Cunningham, and B.J. Cunningham has another Alouette first down at the 44. Javon Johnson the tackle.
Big Nick Lewis with a key block, 14-year veteran. Watch how he steps down here, and then he knows it's coming, swing pass outside, so he picks up Jeff Heck, the first guy that could get there and turn it back to the defenders. Boy, he'll hit. Done it his whole career.
Lewis on the waggle. Here comes pressure. They screen it off, and it's Sutton. And that was broken up by Glenn Love. Could have done some damage there, but Love able to break up that screen and limit the damage.
9 straight years, Nick Lewis was over 1,000 yards. His best season was when he had 80 catches in 05 for 1,379 and 9 touchdowns. But there's the totals in the catch department. Number 1 all time, going straight to the Hall of Fame.
Second and about 5.5. Durant steps up again. That pass incomplete, intended for TJ Graham, with Casey Rogers there defensively.
Nick has been outstanding. Nick Lewis has been a great ambassador on and off the field for the game of football in general. But it is also time. I mean, this is a play where the 35-year-old needs to push up the field with speed to open up this route underneath. And of course, Nick Lewis, his days of being a fast receiver down the field are well behind him, but it's been an outstanding career, top to bottom.
Ursulino in to attempt a 47-yarder here. Made his first from short range. We'll get a better gauge of his leg, and he hits that from 47. There is a flag down, and what's this? It was 3rd and 5.5 to 6. And the Alouettes signaling it's going against Saskatchewan.
Go back with short yardage, and Chris Jones not happy with a couple of these penalties. One early on in the first series after a touchdown that was added to the kickoff.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan, number 98. 15 yards from the original line of scrimmage.
Wow.
First down, Montreal.
That's a Marabere, and that gives Montreal a first down, and they stay on the field offensively.
Chris Jones, if you could read his lips, was basically saying, I told you about this. You can't hit the defenseless center like that.
Bedard the target, and so Durant back on offense, and the speedy TJ Graham slips a tackle and has a first down.
But this is a playoff team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Chris Jones' anger is because you better be disciplined going into the playoffs, because against the teams in the playoffs, you take a couple of UR penalties like Saskatchewan already has in this first half, it'll cost you the game.
Attention to detail. Well, the Alouettes down to the 12-yard line. Second trip to the red zone tonight. Here comes the safety blitz. Durant tried to get it outside and out of the reach of Lewis as the throw was hurried.
Often see blitz and man-to-man coverage down in this area of the field from all defenses across the league, and you called it, Chris. Safety blitz. Jeff Heck coming from that safety spot, times it up well, and is going to rush the throw just enough that Durant misses Nick Lewis.
Second and 10. Riders show pressure again. Here they come. Durant throwing that one away as the Heat forced him to throw it out of bounds.
Yeah, that was fast break. That was look out up front. Durant had no time to step into a throw here. This was all he could do and make it an easy field goal attempt, because that line just kind of collapsed and Terrell Sutton didn't get anybody.
He mentioned it's hard to predict from week to week if Chris Jones is going to send pressure. He called it flavor of the week. The flavor of the week looks like pressure tonight. And Ursulino will, for the second time, kick the field goal. This one will stay on the board, and it's an 8-point Saskatchewan lead. Well, there was a sense of occasion earlier today as they brought down Old Mosaic. Beautiful day, thousands came out. They had the Snowbirds with the flag past, and then in about 12 seconds, it took its final bow.
A lot of memories come
Tumbling down.
Yes, they do.
Brandon Bridge, second series at quarterback, in trouble, and he throws that incomplete. Flag comes down. Pressure on Bridge from Nick Boulay as the Alouettes turn up the heat.
This is going to be illegal contact on a Saskatchewan
Pass
receiver.
interference. Montreal, number 32. It's a 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down. Saskatchewan.
Ball against the ex-Rider, Tavon Campbell. Former Regina Ram.
Brandon Bridge ends up throwing it to him. That's why it became pass interference when he was throwing it away.
Richardson up the middle, and a good run, about 9 for him. A bear the tackle.
Yeah, one of his best runs of the season. Again, when he's not dancing in the hole and he's hitting that hole, more opportunity for a big play.
60 against Ottawa, 52 last week. Dancing a bit here, but has the first down with a surge into Montreal territory to the Alouette 51. And a little scrap, or at least a debate, just away from the ball carrier.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was his fault on having to dance there. It looked like the O lineman in front of him got pushed back a little bit. He starts hitting that hole full speed, and you'll start to see numbers quickly like this in his average if you add it up with 540 carries, over 3,000 yards rushing.
He found the end zone there, didn't he?
Yeah.
So it's a first down at the Montreal 51. Spencer Moore in the backfield in motion. They fake to Richardson, and there's another catch for Chad Owens.
Go back to the Toronto game a few weeks ago. Brandon Bridge down by 10, came on for Kevin Glenn early in that game, and 5 of his 7 drives produced points. They get the win against Toronto. And then last week against Calgary, it was again early first quarter. Kevin Glenn gets pulled. I think this is a little different. Didn't look like Kevin Glenn wasn't seeing it or was getting too much pressure, and that's what they've been saying. One of the reasons for the change. Looked like they're just going to rotate their quarterbacks tonight.
5th catch for Owens, sets up 2nd and 2. Fake to Richardson. Bridge had pressure and overthrows Rob Bagg, well covered there by Henderson.
That's what he brings, though. When Brandon Bridge comes out, you could see Gabriel Napton was so hesitant to commit to the tackle. And he brings that athleticism that it's going to slow the D-line and open run lanes a little bit more, because those D linemen have to kind of be careful they don't go after him and then miss him.
3rd and 2, and it looked like for a time they were going to go for it. And now they send the punt unit on. Bartel comes in. Only 9 times this year they've asked Carpino to kick from beyond the 40, and he has missed from that range tonight. So they'll either try and draw Montreal offside or get Bartel to look for the pin. Punt inside the 10, handled by Logan, who will bring it back to the 17. 35-yard punt. Montreal football when we come back. Former teammates, Nick Lewis has played a mentorship role for Duron Carter. With more on that, here again, Lee Jones.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. They're extremely close. They not only talk once, at least every 2 weeks, but before the game, Duron Carter actually ran right past the Montreal bench looking for Lewis, found him in the end zone, and gave him a big hug. Now, Nick Lewis feels that Duron kind of struggles with the same things he did earlier in his career. He says that he basically told him to just keep positive thinking to make sure that while you think you're a good person, reality is other people won't see you in the same light. You just have to keep being positive. And Duron Carter says he really respects Nick Lewis. In fact, he shows rookies when they come into the Riders locker room. He says, hey, you guys know about Nick Lewis? And he shows them highlights on his phone from what he's been able to do in the CFL.
You know, it's interesting because you think about the early days of Nick Lewis, and we did say some of the same things about Big Nick that we have said about Carter.
Well, and I think it's a different level with Duron Carter, without question. There were some Twitter incidents with Nick Lewis, things like that, but I don't think to the same degree as Duron Carter.
I don't remember Nick Lewis on the corner like Duron Carter is right now.
Very true.
Alouettes 1 for 7 on second down conversions. Time running out. And down goes Darian Durant. A.C. Leonard with the hit.
And that hurt him.
5th sack of the year for Leonard.
It looked like he jammed his knee, Durant, on this. There's A.C. Leonard coming from the top of that screen in a 3-man pressure against 5. That's why Durant thought he had lots of time to stand there and throw. He felt like he should have all day, and that knee buckled under him.
Marcelino punting it away, short punt. And it'll bounce down around the 46-yard line where it's picked up by Kristen Jones. There are flags. One will be no yards. One earlier might be an illegal block or hold against Saskatchewan. Bunt was just 34 yards. And Chris Jones and the Roughriders should enjoy good field position despite the results of these flags. Roughriders 5th in penalties taken. The Alouettes have taken more penalties than any other team in the league this year.
I wonder if that's the last series for Durant. He took a long time to get there.
Montreal number 28. Major foul, face mask, Montreal. Go up 20 yards. First down, Saskatchewan.
Well, both penalties against the Alouettes.
That's number 20.
And Terrell Sutton, I believe, called on the penalty. Join us at the half of the GMC Professional Grade Playbook tonight. Henry Burris on the extremely obscure kickout. We had one last week. Liram Hairolahu after the miss by Justin Medlock. Well, the field position better than anticipated. They start at the Alouette 22. Third time where tremendous field position starts. And back in the hands of Owens, gets away. And Dozier will pump it up at the 5-yard line. That's the 6th catch in this first half for Chad Owens.
6th catch and best throw of the night by Brandon Bridge because of the timing and the zip he puts on this football. He's on the far hash mark, so he's got to get it out there in a hurry. Tight spiral, on time, gives Chad Owens a chance to turn and make a man miss.
They're back in the red zone where they're 2 for 2 on the night. 4th rated in the red zone this year. Double tight ends, 1st and goal from the 5. Richardson, and he is contained. Good defensive play there by Jesse Joseph, 3rd-year man.
Well, Jesse Joseph does this because of watching video and understanding blocking schemes. He just plays right off the down block from that left tackle. Watch how he just steps up. He sees the down block there, and he steps up into the hole, slides into position, and is right there to stop Trent Richardson.
Loss of a yard. So it's 2nd and goal from the 6. Bridge looking end zone for Rob Bagg. Stretched out. Couldn't reach it. Again, working against Tavon Campbell, and the field goal unit will have to come on.
Bridge is throwing this to a spot, and he's expecting his receiver to get to that spot, and it looks like just that extra second or two that Rob Bagg tried to swipe the hands of Campbell when he really didn't need to do it. He just needed to get to that spot as fast as he could. He's just a little behind.
Here's Tyler Capino. Puts that through, and Roughriders now lead by 11. Well, we wondered about Darian Durant's status after the sack by Leonard. He limped off slowly, but coming back in as the Alouettes will take over at their 35.
That's a good sign. I had a great talk with Darian Durant before the game tonight. Asked him how he felt physically. He said absolutely great, that he's looking forward to continuing his career. And any talk of Durant thinking that it's time to retire or anything like that, he said not in his mind. He's coming back ready to try to rebuild in Montreal, and if it's not there and Montreal decides to do something and go in a different direction, then he'll go from there. But he wants to be back.
Next completion will be number 2,500 of his career. Looking for it here, but that falls incomplete. His next pass will be his 4,000th in the CFL. We've hit the 3-minute warning. Durant's Alouettes trail by 11.
The guys back in the studio, 3 minutes to halftime. Coming up, we'll talk about Ed Gainey. Another pick for him. Amazing year. We'll talk about the career of Darian Durant, Saskatchewan days, the struggles in Montreal, and also crazy finish in Ottawa as the Red Blacks keep the hope up for first in the East. Let's go back to Chris and Glenn.
One of those guys are going to get in the debate, Gainey versus Jefferson for top defensive player.
Well, not very often you get 10 picks in a year. You know where I'm leaning.
Whoa.
And your guy's offside.
All right, you win.
Your guy jumped offside.
Yeah, Willie Jefferson.
Offside. Saskatchewan, number 7. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
One off the league lead in sacks and leads the league in quarterback pressures and combined sacks and quarterback pressures.
And is the #1 defensive lineman in the league in tackles with over 40, but 10 interceptions, 3 games with multiple interceptions.
Once a DB, always a DB. Second down, and that one almost picked off by Derek Moncrief. And knew he had a shot at a pick 6.
He had a chance, and he has to turn around and ask Ed Gainey, how do you finish that play? Because you've done it 10 times now. Had 1 called back last week, so that would be 11. And just to put in perspective how tough that is, 10 picks in a season. Last year, the Saskatchewan Roughriders as a team had 11. 1 more, and he has the exact same as they had a team last year.
You're working this, aren't you? Christian Jones pulled down around the 33-yard line, so 2:17 left first half. And the Roughriders with the lead, and Brandon Bridge goes back in at quarterback. Net yards for the Roughriders, despite the 17 points, only 99 here in the first half.
There's my vote.
Now, your guy has 7 knockdowns. My guy from the defensive line position has 6, and a fumble recovery for a touchdown.
10 interceptions in 1 season, and we're not done yet. I'm going DB.
pitch, and he throws behind Chad Owens, incomplete.
By the way, for the record, I like your guy too. He's had a big season. It's not.
Yeah, we are just playing both sides of a very intriguing, I think, tough decision.
And I don't know about you, but we don't get the votes, Chris, until after they are nominated from their team. So
the local chapters of the Football Reporters vote on the finalists from each team, and then we take over and mess it all up. Bridge will step up, he'll take off, and he runs for a first down. Like, was that KJ Morton who tried to shoulder him down? It didn't work, and he runs for 17 and a first down.
Well, when you spin out of a hit, you can open up a hole, and that's what happens there for Montreal. Fabian Foote spins out. He opens up a run lane for Brandon Bridge, and he takes it. Now he wants to hook slide, too.
Richardson, big hole. Trent Richardson down to the 45-yard line, and he's got 15 on that rumble.
The moment that Brandon Bridge is in the game, the splits widen for the defensive line. The split is what's the lineup between the tackle and the defensive end, and the tackle and defensive end. How far apart are they lined up? That's the splits up front. And when Bridge is in the game, they get wider.
Richardson again, John Bowman gets his hands on the running back and brings him down.
So just take a look at the splits on that last running play. I mean, here is a split there between the tackles. Look how wide they are. Look how far Bowman is from his defensive tackle. That's to try and contain Bridge to get outside. So what do? They run up the middle, and now those splits are taken advantage of. Nice play calling to go to that interior run game.
Now 2nd and 9, 5 receivers out. Richardson stays on the block. Pressure coming, and the pass is caught. Caleb Hawley's got it, and he's down to the 15 with a first down. First catch of the night for Hawley. In fact, just the 3rd different receiver among the 8 catches tonight.
There he is in the spotlight on this play because it's blitz. So Hawley's got to present himself quickly. He knows his quarterback doesn't have a lot of time to get rid of it, and he gets on that outcut quickly for a 28-yard gain.
4th trip to the red zone, 2 for 3. First down, Bridge sidearms that, complete. It's Bakari Grant, and he's stripped of the ball. He thought he was going to walk in, and it's taken away. Tavon Campbell with the strip, Henderson the recovery, and Chris Jones was going to talk to Bakari Grant about that.
UR penalties, relaxing before scoring. I think you don't want to be in the locker room at halftime. The home locker room I'm talking about, with Chris Jones addresses his team. No question that ball is out before crossing the plane. Tavon Campbell, the great play to stick with it, and recovered by Montreal.
Boy, that's going to be on all the highlight reel for all the wrong reasons. Remember Bakari Grant earlier this year, a game against Toronto, had a big play when the Argos just let him up off the ground, and this time it was the brain cramp the other way that takes points off the board. Whoa, that was almost a Duron Carter interception in the end zone. And I'm not sure we've ever seen that kind of pick six.
on a swing pass. Nick Lewis starts on this in the backfield here. He comes out from the backfield, so this is swing pass for the corner. To read this and come up into it is just Duron Carter playing the play. This is a receiver saying, oh, I know what this play is. It's a swing pass to Nick Lewis. I'm just going to go and leave my responsibilities and take it. Almost had the pick six. Comes a corner blitz.
2nd and 10, and it's Lewis up to around the 10. He's going to be a yard short again, just like the first series of the game. A catch for about 9 deep in his own zone.
Duron Carter got the call again to go on that corner blitz. I believe he went on 5 against the Calgary Stampeders last week, and this time he got picked up and blocked. But Davis Reed not trying this time after what happened in that first series.
Three straight 2-and-outs. And again, if you're joining us late watching the other game, they gambled on third and about the length of the football from the 12 on the first series of the game and got stopped. Ursulino punts it away. Christian Jones from the 51, 41-yard punt, and Jones contained at the 47. Dozier in on that tackle, and so the Roughriders get one more chance to add to their lead here in the first half.
That first game, Ottawa, as you mentioned, 8-9-1 on the season. Their season is over. Toronto will play the final weekend of the season. So they are in BC to finish their season off. We'll see how the East shakes down, those two teams. But, you know, this year feels like, and this is with all due respect to the 13-win Calgary Stampeders, that any team can win the Cup this year.
I agree. Fourth time they've started on the Alouette side of half. Bakari Grant, they went right back to him, and he couldn't hang on to that.
You know, last year it felt like, Chris, that the Stampeders were sort of heavy favorites against Ottawa in the Grey Cup Championship, and the Stamps will be favored again, and should be. They've earned that, but I'm not sure if they're as heavy a favorites as they were last year going into the playoffs. Lost 30-7 last week to the Saskatchewan Roughrider team.
I think that's why tomorrow is so intriguing.
Yeah.
How do they respond against Edmonton? Bakari Grant's at 995 yards on the season. Thrown downfield. Owens brings it down with a terrific catch. Boy, he has had an outstanding first half. That's his 7th catch and another weapon in the Roughrider arsenal.
Boy, I tell you, he's been the best player on the field in this first half of this football game. And you could have said that last week as well. He has just stepped in like he's been playing all season. Just a game and a half under his belt, and the former MOP is back in a big, big way. I don't think you can keep him out of the lineup in the playoffs. He's got to start.
Oh, he's within 2 yards of last week. 5 catches, 78 in his return. And the field goal unit comes on for a 30-yard attempt. After that catch by Owens. 25-yard catch by Owens. And the ball hits the upright. It is dead, and they come away empty. And somehow the Alouettes, despite the field position advantage for Saskatchewan in the first half, have been able to hang around in this game. The lead just 11 as we hit halftime. Let's hear from the guys on the panel with Rod Smith.
Ray Olenek of Saskatoon, you can still win a $25,000 home theater package from Visions Electronics if a kickoff's return for a touchdown in this second half. Hasn't happened yet, thanks to Safeway Sobeys $1 million touchdown to win promotion. And if it happens a second time, all in one half, you can still win $1 million. So good luck with that, Ray. And by the way, for every touchdown scored today and all season long, Safeway and Sobeys are proud to donate $250 to Special Olympics Canada at the half. 17-6 Owls over the Alouettes. Riders over the Alouettes. Here's Jock with the stats.
Are you going to get the teams right, Rod?
I eventually will.
I can't work with this unprofessionalism. Hey, you know, for those of you who are missing Jerron Carter at the wide receiver position, the Flying Hawaiian is back and having a heck of a game. Montreal's problems on offense continue. How about Saskatchewan's net yards piling up?
Here is the Flying Hawaiian, Chad Owens with Lee Jones.
Chad, 7 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown, and you made sure you kept that football as your first as a Rider. What has this last 2 games meant for you playing CFL football again after 13 months away from it?
It means everything. This is what we sacrifice every day for, is to play the game. And when something's taken from you, you just feel so much more fortunate that next opportunity you get. So I'm just trying to make the best of it.
As a veteran, what's the message in the locker room, considering you're up 11, but it could have been a lot more?
I mean, if we're trying to win a championship, that's not the kind of half of football we need. You know, Montreal's playing good football right now. We're not playing our best. Like I said, moving forward, we got to be able to dominate and play at our max potential at this point in the season going into the playoffs. So we got to come out second half and put out our best.
Appreciate this. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks.
Got his touchdown pass from Kevin Glenn. Brandon Bridge taking over in the second quarter, though. It's a 17-6 Rider lead, Jock, over the Alouettes.
Well done,
Second
Rod.
half kickoff coming up from New Mosaic. Here at TSN Friday Night Football. Stick around.
Point lead. Riders with that advantage as we head to the second half. But first to the sidelines, Lee Jones with Nick Lewis.
Nick Lewis, you guys were able to put it downfield, just had to settle for field goals. What needs to change in the second half to get some touchdowns?
You know, we just got to make plays, and that's what it comes down to. We had some penalties early that put us in bad situations, and we just got to make plays. You know, they're giving us a chance, and we got to take advantage of it.
You talked about before the beginning of the season that you really wanted to soak in every single game. How are you soaking in this game, considering this is the place where you got your first touchdown catch, your first catch?
This place is amazing, man. It's like magical. Look up and around the stands, you know, just everything about this place. These fans here are so great, man. It's just a great atmosphere to play in.
Appreciate this.
Thank you.
So Nick Lewis and the Alouettes will have to do it without Darian Durant in the second half. We're being told that Darian's return to Saskatchewan done for the night, and he has suffered a knee injury. So Matthew Schultz gets an opportunity to go to work with this offense, a guy who has kind of got his foot in the door now and trying to show the Alouette brass he deserves more.
Well, coming into this game, I mean, Kavis Reed had a tough decision to make. He wanted to start Darian Durant because it was the return to Saskatchewan, but for the club moving forward, they need to see what they have. So they're going to take a look at Matthew Schultz and see how he performs in this second half.
Rapinoe kicks it off. Here's Stefan Logan with the return, and he kind of ran into traffic before he hit the 30-yard line.
Out of Butler, 6'2", 195 pounds, pocket passer. Take a look at his numbers in college. 24 years old, over 4,000 yards, and just shy of 60% in the completion percentage. Good touchdown interception ratio, and can run as well.
Guy who had a good preseason, was number 4 at one time. They make a trade. Drew Willie moves up, but now Schultz gets the second crack, and he hands it off to, or fakes to Sutton, and a little juggle, and Cunningham can't hang on. A pass he should have caught on the first delivery from Schultz.
Well, it won't be how Darian Durant wants to leave this game. We saw him get that knee, but Kavis Reed now gets a chance to take a look at a young quarterback, and he said in the radio this week in Montreal that he's seen more drops by his receivers. When asked if it was Durant's fault for this, said he's seen more drops by his receivers than any year he's been around.
That's an incompletion after the 3-man rush. Another pass intended for Cunningham, a 2-and-out, and that's the 4th consecutive 2-and-out for the Alouettes. You can think right off the top of your head of maybe 3 drops that ended up being interceptions the other way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So not just incompletions, the receivers let Darian Durant down big time this year. Rosalino, a high punt, but not deep at all. Christian Jones fields it at his 50, just a 32-yard punt. And again, look at the field position for the Roughriders. Their average field position start in the first half was the 54. And they're just about there again to start this third quarter.
And Kevin Glenn is going to start the second half. Now, we've seen the change before this year with Brandon Bridge coming in for Glenn. Have not seen yet Glenn go back in the game.
Richardson straight ahead, and Napton able to drag him down at the 50.
What a first half for Chad Owens. Starting with the fly sweep. I mean, clearly he's been the primary in the game plan all week because they found a lot of different ways to get him the ball. Also has his first touchdown of the season.
Kevin Glenn in trouble here, able to avoid the sack, but a drop from Richardson on a pass that should have been caught. John Bowman with the heat on, looking for his 120th career sack.
Boy, it has been an absolute pleasure to watch him play the game of football. Talk about a great teammate and a hard-working, give it everything you got player every single down. That's John Bowman.
Number 8 all-time in CFL sacks. They take the hitch, they go deep, wide open. Caleb Hawley, he can walk in, touchdown.
It's a big one for Caleb Hawley. Because if you look at the numbers and you look at Chad Owens in the last game and a half, where was Chad Owens going to fit into this lineup if he, in fact, he was going to become a starter if Naaman Roosevelt is healthy to play in the playoffs? Because remember, he's sitting out again because of the concussion protocol. So I think this is a big one for Caleb Hawley. And by his celebration, it looked like he's like, yeah, I needed that.
5th touchdown of the year. He didn't have a catch in Calgary last week. Boy, did they sell the hitch.
Yeah.
Did Montreal bite?
Oh, yeah.
Rafinha, the extra point. And the lead expands to 24-6. 49-yard touchdown strike. Kevin Glenn connecting with Caleb Hawley.
Boy, did they ever bite on this hitch screen. There's Dozier from the safety spot. Here's Greg Henderson. Watch how he bites on that fake screen from Kevin Glenn. He sells it on the pump, and away goes Caleb Hawley in behind coverage. Dozier is now in chase. No shot for him to get out of it and try and catch up, and Caleb Hawley walks in untouched.
So the 3 touchdowns with Kevin Glenn at quarterback tonight. Logan. And a good return, but the ball popped loose and then recovered by the Alouettes. S.J. Adara comes up with the football after Logan got drilled, bringing it back beyond the 40.
You know, sometimes it's great route running, sometimes you break a tackle, sometimes it's the scheme and the quarterback selling a fake, a play fake. That's a big hit on the special teams.
That's Spencer Moore. After a 35-yard return. Quick hitter, Nick Lewis, another catch, 10-50 for Lewis, and a first down near the Roughrider 50.
And sometimes, Chris, on touchdowns, if you're Caleb Hawley, just run your route and watch it unfold in front of you. Watch Henderson jump that hitch screen, the fake, and Hawley can't believe it. Now, that's a harder throw than it looks. Kevin Glenn, when you get an open receiver that wide open, the quarterbacks will tell you, don't aim it, just throw it out there and they'll go get it.
Ron Carter back on the corner, first down. Think to Sutton on a roll. It's Cunningham the catch. And Carter misses the tackle. Cunningham out around the 41.
Boy, it has been tough to find the answer offensively. And that goes back a long time now in Montreal. Last time Anthony Calvillo was at the helm. Now coaches his team as they still try and find the answer at quarterback.
I mean, the names, you just go down the list from AC to Newswander to Glenn to Brink, Crompton, Bridge, Glenn Adams, 3 guys all in Montreal and Saskatchewan now. Here comes the pressure. They swing it out. Cunningham Jaguar with a block, and B.J. Cunningham brought down by Mike Edom, the safety, close to another first down.
The total, Chris, is 11. 11 quarterbacks since Anthony Calvillo was behind center. That's most in the league. Saskatchewan's gone through 10.
Saskatchewan, 5-yard penalty, first down, Montreal.
And Tanner Marsh, the guys I was reading off are the guys that have played against Saskatchewan since the AC retirement. And that was in 2013. Well, he played so good, we could have said at the time he was irreplaceable, and it's turned out to be true. Schultz rolling, a double pump, and then throws low. Cunningham, does he get credit for the catch or not?
B.J. Cunningham has done two things. I think he caught it because it looked like to me he got his arms underneath that, but also sold it so well. He got up immediately so that the official would just believe it. He got his hands together and it looked like it bounced off his hand. Let's take a closer look here.
Now Sutton, his best burst of the game. He's been corralled so far. Was 3 carries, 1 attempt till that 7-yard burst.
But the number one goal for the Alouettes going into the offseason is they got to keep working on their quarterback situation. Durant signed for a couple more years, wants to come back and be part of it, but they got to get younger.
Third trip to the red zone, 2 field goals so far. Sutton again. And a first down carry and more as he drives down inside the 10.
I mean, you take a look. I mean, Durant's 34, but we've seen quarterbacks play into their 40s and play well. Ricky Ray and Henry Burris is one of them. But Nick Lewis probably retires this year. He's at 35 years old. Even their number one free agent offseason signing, Ernest Jackson, is 30. Terrell Sutton is 30. Kyrie Sever, John Bowman on defense. They're over 30. Got to get younger.
First and goal. Schultz looking for Jaguar. Got it. Touchdown. Matthew Schultz connects with Samuel Jaguar for his first touchdown catch of the season.
Nice drive by Matthew Schultz. He comes down and puts together a real nice drive. The play calling helps him. He gets the run involved with Terrell Sutton a little bit. We've seen him throw on the run and complete a couple. That last throw where Cunningham made the tough low catch, he adjusted on the fly and then throws it up over top of coverage to Jaguar for the touchdown. Nice drive by the young quarterback.
So the first touchdown of the year for Jaguar. I think he wants the football for his quarterback, who has just passed for his first CFL touchdown. Russolino, and he has missed the convert. Jones going to bring it out, looking to get 2. He's got some room down the sidelines. It gets cut off, so he'll veer back the other way. He's got blocking, and he might get there. And finally, it's Bedard who will bring him down. There is a flag on that return after the missed convert by Russolino.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Montreal, number 69. 15 yards will be applied on the kickoff.
Anthony Morris, offensive lineman, called for unnecessary roughness. So Schultz answers the Rider touchdown with this connection to Jaguar. They missed the convert, and it's 24-12 Saskatchewan. Mic'd up players to behind-the-scenes action. It's CFL Wired.
Good stuff, Rick. I will pay you $1,000 if you can block me one time one-on-one. Damn, Mondo. Get your fat ass up, boy. 82, you got to scoop it. I hit that note.
Catch it Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific across the TSN network. I'm not talking to Armando Siwa like that. I'm telling you that.
No shot.
After the penalty and short kickoff, Greg Morris gets it outside and back into Montreal territory again. They've been operating with a short field all night long. Take a look at that 7-play, 62-yard drive and led by Matthew Schultz.
Yeah, Matthew Schultz did a nice job in his drive, distributing the football, good play calling. He got out on the run a couple of times. He was 4 for 4 throwing it. That was the adjustment he made on the fly to find his secondary target, and then the touchdown to Shiger, a nice throw over top of coverage at the back of the end zone. 4 for 4, his first touchdown throw, and 7-play drive, 62 yards.
First touchdown surrendered by the Roughrider defense in 7 quarters. Back in the hands of Richardson. Plows to the 39. So close to 5 for Trent Richardson. And just over 50 on the night. On that is the 11th carry.
This game is all about real estate, and boy, the Saskatchewan field position been outstanding tonight.
Yes, location, location, location. I believe this is the 4th start on the Alouettes, 5th start on the Alouettes side of half. Second and 5, over the middle. Open is Owens, little stutter step, but he's still going, and finally down around the 16. Boy, it's been a huge night for number 2.
Big night for him. He's a primary, and this is what Kevin Glenn does well. You know, I mentioned what Brandon Bridge does well. He's athletic and he can move. Watch the recognition, how quick it is. 1, 2, 3, recognizes the coverage, got his throwing lane. Bam, he's got Chad Owens right over the middle. That's what he does well.
Vernon Adams in, Trent Richardson gets the pitch. It was almost broken up at the point of attack by KJ Morton. By the way, Chad Owens at 99 receiving yards on the night.
Boy, and that last play, John Bowman, a big part of it. He's going to blow it up and get things started here because he reads it, and then he gets help in the scrape from the linebackers. Bowman gets the tackle.
So 2nd and 10. 2 touchdowns in the red zone, 4 trips tonight. Glenn underneath, and that one behind Owens and incomplete. And the field goal unit will come on.
Boy, John Bowman wants to get one more against Kevin Glenn before it's over, and he gets there again just a second late, and then does the smart thing, the veteran thing, to pull up from the hit, not rip him down or get too physical and draw a penalty.
Been in the neighborhood a couple of times tonight. And that is John Bowman, who is getting attention. Still getting it done. 7 pressures in the last 4 games.
Oh, really?
Tied for 3rd in the league in combined sacks and pressures at 35 years of age.
Well, you know, look at his last 3 years of work. I mean, just in the sack department alone, 36. And remember, in 2015, he led the league. That wasn't that long ago. I mean, 19 sacks that season for John Bowman. I am in the comeback one more year John Bowman club.
Next week will be game number 200 of his Hall of Fame career. So a 24-yard field goal attempt is good. And it's a 15-point Saskatchewan lead midway in this 3rd quarter on a crisp, beautiful night in Regina. Your favorite Hicks are back for a special Halloween episode. Letterkenny, The Haunting of Modine's 2. Now streaming only on Crave TV. Start your 1-month trial at cravetv.ca. We got hot chocolate in there tonight. Actually, it's
we're good up here. This is a luxury location, heated as well.
Tyler Sutton wrapped up around the 39, gain of 4. Matthew Schultz first drive, second half, generates 5 first downs. The Alouettes had only 6 in the first half of play. Had trouble converting on second down. 3 for 13 so far in the game. 4 receivers wide side. Schultz steps up and weaves away, and he'll run for the first down. Tripped up by Antigua, but yes, he advances to the 50 and shows a burst.
Yeah, we showed you his running ability and the numbers he had in college at Butler, but this is nice acceleration. Showed great speed here. Breaks contained, still with his eyes downfield, but as soon as he saw the open corner, he headed for that first down marker. Nice run and a new set of downs.
Again, the 12th different quarterback for the Alouettes against Saskatchewan since the last game with Anthony Calvillo. A catch over the middle made by Ernest Jackson, who's had a quiet night. A year ago, Jackson with 88 catches, 1,225 yards.
Here's another box that you can check that Schultz has now recognized safety blitz and made the quick throw. He can't block them all, so get it out of your hands quickly. Good recognition there from the young quarterback. And he's facing 3, 4, 5, and 6-man pressure from Chris Jones.
First catch for Jackson, who has only 3 against the Riders in 2 games this year. Over the middle and almost picked off as he tried to thread it through there for Nick Lewis.
Well, it wasn't the way Darian Durant would have scripted this one. He's done for the night, as you can see, equipment off. But great introduction of Durant before the game. The fans here in Saskatchewan, outstanding. Gave him a standing ovation, nothing but first class, and then booed him when he walked on the field as the opposition quarterback, which is what you expect.
Off the side of Russolino's foot, gets a bit of an Alouette bounce down the sidelines, and they'll mark it out at the 22. Kevin Glenn and the Roughriders with a 15-point lead. Well, John Bowman has been doing what he's been doing for the past 12 years, chasing Kevin Glenn. Almost had him a couple of times tonight. He has sacked Glenn more than any other quarterback that he's got in his distinguished career. With more, let's join Lee Jones.
Yeah, and John Bowman likes to remind Kevin Glenn that's the case. When they're both teammates in Montreal, Kevin Glenn was told of the fact that he was the quarterback he sacked the most. And John Bowman said it was about, 30 or 40 sacks I got to Kevin Glenn. Admittedly, it was just 15. It wasn't that many. Now, John Bowman put a tweet out before their last home game last week, basically saying that for 12 years he gave the city of Montreal all that he had. And while he wasn't announcing his retirement, you never know. And he told me yesterday that guys like Anthony Calvillo and Anwar Stewart, he talked to them and they said they didn't know they were going to retire until the day of. So he always kept that in mind and wanted to tell the people that supported him, thank you very much. So we'll see if he follows what you say, Glenn, and sticks around for another year or not, guys.
There's Chad Owens again on that jet sweep. A flag comes down at the end of the play. Owens upended around the 34, which would be first down yardage. 12-yard run, but let's see if it stands. Well, the emotion we saw
holding
from
Saskatchewan, number 88, be 4 yards per game. It's a 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Penalty against Hawley. The emotion we saw from John Bowman a few weeks ago when they were about to be eliminated from the playoffs told you all about how much he cares.
Heard a lengthy interview on the radio from Montreal this past week. John Bowman was asked the question about being emotional and, just what was going through his mind and, his thoughts at the time. He said, I promised the owner. I promised the owner, my teammates, and the city that I'd get us in the playoffs, and I didn't do that, and he was disappointed.
And over the middle, it's knocked down. Nice play by Dozier on a pass intended for Bakari Grant.
Now you got to let John Bowman off the hook there. I mean, he's one guy in the entire lineup, and he's not playing offense. Boy, he has done his thing and contributed to try and get him there. It's not going to happen this year, but I think he's got football left in him. Great leader, great guy in the room, and you saw when we threw up the numbers just how productive he's been through his 12 years.
Might be productive on 2nd and 20 here. Pressure coming from Bowman. It's stepped off to Richardson. Got 10 back and a couple extra, but it will be 3rd down in a punting situation.
You know, he's so athletic too, Bowman, because he's great off the edge, as we know, but on this one he's going to stunt into this A gap, and you know, defensive end's going to step up the field, then come up and underneath it by design to try and confuse the blocking schemes. Again, he's been about a half second late on a couple here. He may have a couple more sacks on Kevin Glenn.
Montreal. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down. The player number is number 22.
So Greg Henderson called for illegal contact. They take the penalty, and so it'll be 2nd down over now, 2nd and 10. Henderson with an interception tonight. Receivers at far side, they go that way underneath. Pitch made a big hit on Carter, who will be stopped short of the 1st down, and now the punt team does come on.
Now there's only one football, and it's been going in Chad Owen's direction a ton tonight, whether it's Brandon Bridge or Glenn, but a quiet night so far as Carter now goes back and plays offense tonight. Last week, of course, playing corner the entire game, did not play a snap of offense. That's his first catch tonight.
Logan awaits. From the 37, Denzel Radford down early, but doesn't make the tackle. Does help contain Logan as flags fly once again. Morris the tackle. .45-yard punt. Let's see what.
On the return, holding Montreal, number 43. 10-yard penalty. 1st down, Montreal.
Dominic Termanson. That's the 12th penalty against the Alouettes, and we haven't hit 3/4 time yet. So it moves the ball back to the Alouette 31. Matthew Schultz, 5 of 8, 47 yards, and a touchdown so far. Pressure coming, Preston Butler gets home for the sack. Halfback blitz, first sack of the year for Butler.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was picked up. He's coming from down here at the bottom, and he's recognized by Matthew Schultz just as he's getting there, but not picked up. It's just a missed assignment. There was 2 backs in the backfield, and not one of them saw the halfback coming on the blitz.
3-man front on 2nd and 15. Send a corner blitz here. Schultz steps up, and there's another bobbled ball. TJ Graham failed to make the catch, and that was almost another off a receiver's hands and an interception.
Yeah, it goes down as an incompletion. If it did pop up and was picked off by a rider, it would have gone down under the quarterback's statistical categories. But boy, the Alouettes have had a ton of that this year.
On the night, Pisolino dropped it, no rush, and he rushed it, and that goes out at the Alouette bench. It's an illegal punt, and the field position we've been talking about all night just got even better for Saskatchewan.
The field has
illegal
been
punt
tilted.
out of bounds. Montreal, number 30. 10-yard penalty from where it went out of bounds. First down, Saskatchewan.
It's a young player that his eyes are pretty big right now, and he mishandles it and then thinks he's in a panic now to just kick it and doesn't get it lined up properly off the side of his foot. The lace is down, and you don't want that either. He kicks the tip of the ball, and it goes right off the side of his foot and out of bounds short.
Almost a drop kick by the time he made contact, so it's the 6th start on the Alouettes side of half. Flag flies, and looks like a procedure penalty against Bruce Campbell.
Procedure, Saskatchewan, number 69. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Does go against the left tackle. Roughriders looking for their 10th win of the year, a team that started 2-4. Trying to snap a 3-game losing streak against the Alouettes. First and 15. And in trouble, dropped the ball. John Bowman's there with the sack. And that's number 120 in his career and number 16 against Kevin Glenn. Still plenty of football in the 35-year-old. Number 8 all-time in sacks. Now with 120. (27-12) as we head to the 4th quarter, and the number at the bottom tells you this hasn't been the most disciplined game.
No, it hasn't. And when you look at the penalties for these teams, okay, Montreal's out of the playoffs. It's not as big a deal, but it is a big deal for a playoff team in the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You get up after 3 quarters in that type of penalties and penalty yardage, that'll come back and haunt you in a playoff game in a big, big way. I mean, Calgary went through it last week, Chris, against Saskatchewan. They had 5 UR penalties, I think, in that game, so you just can't have it.
And then the Bakari Grant fumble on the goal line is another issue that Chris Jones will discuss.
Well, and that's, it's focus, it's intensity, it's concentration, and then you turn all of that into execution. And that's why Chris Jones has been quite angry on the sideline a couple of times tonight.
Kevin Glenn going to air this one out, going deep and knocked down. Tavon Campbell with the knockdown against Duron Carter.
Tavon Campbell just gathered himself and had lots of time to play that ball. I mean, you see him sitting on top of the route here and timed it up, cut underneath. That's the 2nd shot deep at Duron Carter tonight. One was intercepted by Greg Henderson, and that knockdown by Campbell.
Hasn't had much luck against his old team, 2 for 12 in the season opener. And tonight, with just 1 catch for 6 yards. Martell looks for the corner. Takes a little off it, and he'll put it out inside the 15-yard line. So a 28-yard punt.
They're sorting out more penalties here, as we just talked about that at the break. I think the panel. I heard the panel at halftime, and Rod threw it to the group. What do you think?
Illegal
Jefferson
block,
or Gainey?
hands to the face. Montreal, number 34. We'll go back 10 yards. First down, Montreal.
Kyrie Bear call. I'll just remind you that there's receivers and DBs or whatever they are on the panel.
Okay. They're not qualified to pick defenders.
I just think they're biased too.
Wow, both great players having outstanding seasons, so there's not a wrong answer there. But you go with Gainey, you go with Jefferson. We'll see who comes out of the Saskatchewan Roughriders when the nominations come out.
Well, the familiar theme here, long field Montreal, short field Saskatchewan. Pass over the middle off the fingertips of Nick Lewis incomplete. Third time tonight Montreal has started inside their 10. Including the first possession of the game, which kind of set the tone, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a 3 and out because of a short yardage stop, and Kevin Glenn turned that into the first touchdown of the game.
Schultz, pressure on, and he gets knocked down as he tried to step up in the pocket. That's Creston Butler again, who has applied pressure on back-to-back series.
I think it was your guy that caused the problems here, Willie Jefferson. And they've had some success when they're going with 3-man pressure. Look at number 7 right here and watch him just take off, get a great drive on Brian Simmons here and crush the pocket. I mean, he just collapsed it. Schultz had to take off and run.
So the second consecutive 2 and out for Schultz and the Montreal offense. You talked about veteran guys who may or may not be back. There's Luc Brodeur-Jourdain, the 9th-year veteran at center, who isn't sure he's returning next year. Guy that's been through the glory days in Montreal. Boy, they've had some injuries on the offensive line. And Nick Lewis slow to get up, but no Javon Olafioye, Christian Matt, Philip Gagnon.
Oh, and I think the guy you thought was Nick Lewis was Anthony Morris, and he's limping off now.
Wow. Not often you see 2 different offensive linemen limp off at the same time.
Yeah.
Nick may have to play a whole line tonight.
He could possibly pull it off. He's certainly physical enough. He's got a little bit of weight behind him at 240.
Boy, but there were a couple of years where just the same 5 guys that line up for the Alouettes for a whole season on the O-line. Chad Owens has dropped back with Christian Jones. Does Russolino punt out of his end zone? He will. Better punt. Jones from the Alouette 54-yard line. It was a 48-yard punt that time, and Jones escorted out at around the Montreal 41. Been a big night for Chad Owens, sitting on 99 receiving yards. First Saskatchewan Roughrider touchdown. And he'll be back on offense when we return. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the 2017 GMC Sierra Elevation Edition. Get noticed like a pro. I don't remember the last time this happened, but the Roughriders, for the 7th time tonight, start in Montreal territory. Average start, the 55. Midfield, Brandon Bridge, and Owens. Did he catch that? I think he did. They're ruling incomplete. He says he did. And Chris Shopka, the line judge, says no.
He thinks he did. I mean, he stabbed this ball with one hand. Pressure pushing Bridge back in the low throw. No, it did bounce.
He didn't.
It did bounce. Correct call by the official, but looks like Montreal's getting another penalty.
Hit shot on, that toss down at the end of the play by Fabian Foote. Another undisciplined play that they keep piling up. First down. Bridge wanted to go deep. Now he'll take off. And dropped at the 21-yard line. Got another flag. This one going against Saskatchewan.
Holding. Saskatchewan, number 68. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
And his team's leading, but it tells you what Chris Jones thinks about the night.
Yeah, and his team is the playoff team, and that's what he's thinking about.
That was Thaddeus Coleman, the right tackle.
You got to be tuning up, playing your best ball right now, not undisciplined, taking a ton of penalties. Now Montreal's been worse, but they're not the playoff team.
Fabian Foote shaken up, so he's getting attention. Mentioned that the Alouettes had won the last 3 meetings, and in the 3 games the Roughriders had scored 16-14 and last year beaten 41-3, so they've had trouble scoring against Montreal. Tonight more points than those 3 previous games.
So you can see what happened on this injury. Kyrie St-Barrett, boy, we've seen a couple now that injuries from friendly fire. An elbow or a heel, the heel to the head.
The Foot makes his way to the sidelines. 9 consecutive losses, 5 in a row since they made the coaching change. And since the coaching change, including tonight, they've been outscored 233 to 93. There was a point early in the season where we were wondering if the Alouettes weren't the best team in the East. They had a big win over Montreal. Well, Darian Durant threw for 452 in that game.
Against Saskatchewan, yeah. Well, 452 against Ottawa, yeah.
Against Ottawa. They had beaten a couple of Western teams early. Bridge steps up again, fires, and there's Owens, a 100-yard receiving game for Chad Owens.
Oh, that throw, too. Brandon Bridge steps up and throws it across his body and gets it to Chad Owens, who's working back to the ball. He has to step up, pressure around him, and someone at his legs, and just strong arms it out to Owens. Over 100.
Did it once last year at a 101-yard receiving game. Did not have a 100-yard receiving game in 2015. So after a long layoff, he has come back better than ever. Second down. Catch is made by Christian Jones. Tried to tightrope it. Stepped out at the 15, but that is a first down.
I think it's always an interesting decision by coaches to have their great returners. Christian Jones has become one of the great returners in the league. I think he's been a true spark plug and a big reason for the turnaround, the Saskatchewan team, to get themselves in the playoffs. And yet when you start seeing players make the big plays on the teams and on the returns, coaches are so tempted to move him in on offense. There's his foot out of bounds.
6 trip to the red zone. Bridge over the middle. Pass caught. Hawley, who has a touchdown, brought down by Reggie Northrup, who's playing in Chip Cox's spot. We haven't mentioned that Chip left the team with an injury and potentially retirement, although that's not official. Whether we'll not or not, we'll see the leading tackler in this generation of Montreal Alouettes again remains to be seen. Second and 4 with Trent Richardson in the backfield with Bridge. Pressure coming. Bridge gets away from the first and on a roll, is in deep trouble, and he's going the wrong way, but does throw, finds Bag, and although it's a loss, they save a lot of yardage because Brandon Bridge was in reverse.
25 yards it looks like, and yeah, he got himself into trouble. The first move to get out and around was a great one because he sees the pressure coming off the edge, bounces that, now he can't find a receiver, and now now he's in trouble because now he can't throw it away and get it over the line of scrimmage. Rob Bagg works all the way back to save what would have been 25 more yards.
So a loss of 7 on that play. As you mentioned, could have been a loss of 25. It's a 24-yard field goal attempt for Carpinia, and he puts it through. And the Roughriders have hit 30 on the night, and for the ninth time on the season, 30-12. Darian Durant knocked out of this game. There have been a few Alouette injuries. Let's check back in with Lee Jones.
Yeah, injuries really hitting our offensive line. Anthony Morris was taken off on a cart by the sidelines. He had a left leg issue and was in a lot of pain, so he is out of the game. And Luc Brodeur-Jourdain was actually hobbling as well on that last series. He's going to try to gut it out. If he can't go, they have moved defensive tackle Donnie O into a uniform that would make him eligible to be an offensive lineman if Luc can't go.
Thank you, Lee. There's some running room for Terrell Sutton behind that makeshift offensive line. His best run of the game, and he brings it all the way into Rough Rider territory with a 22-yard run.
34-year-old Luc Brodeur-Jourdain is stepping up and making a seal block for his running block on there. Lee just told you he's gutting it out, and he comes up with a nice block here from that center, steps down on McHenry.
Stay on the ground, and Sutton ran into Rakeem Cox and is brought down around the 50. So a couple on the play. Long-time defensive tackle in this league in his 9th year. Don Aramacion pressed into duty on the offensive line. Fake to Sutton this time, and another drop, and what's that, about 4 of those, and Cunningham reaching for his left knee, and he might be the latest on the injured list. Comes up hobbling, but looks like he'll continue.
Take a look, see what happens to him. Quick out on the rub. He's gonna get hit anyway. You might as well catch it.
Second and 10. Cunningham hitting the 1,000-yard mark tonight. Sorry, 3rd down, and Schultz takes off. He's going to be stopped short, and it's a turnover on downs. So the Alouettes turn it over once again. 3rd turnover of the game. 2nd time on downs. Raptors basketball rolls along Monday. A battle between the Raps and the Trailblazers. Catch the game at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on TSN 4. Turnover on downs. Matthew Schultz, I believe the tackle made by Willie Jefferson.
Okay.
And the Rough Riders take over again. The field position starts tonight. And well, this time on their side of half, Trent Richardson will change that and carry it over midfield and back into Montreal territory. Vernon Adams, the 3rd quarterback tonight. We've seen him a couple of times, but I wonder if Chris Jones lets him finish this final 7 minutes.
Yeah, I would think so. I think this is a rotation. Again, I don't think even when Kevin Glenn was pulled early in this game that it was because he wasn't playing well. Different game. Yes, they still want to win. They want to win the last 2 going into the playoffs.
Richardson again hits the hole hard, and there's his best run in the Canadian Football League. Finally dragged down at the 15-yard line.
Believe that's his 14th carry of the night.
And it just got him to 97 yards with that 38-yard run, his best in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, I was about to say that it was kind of looking a lot like the first 3 games. Certainly that 2nd game where he had 14 carries and just 60 yards, because he was at 13 and 57 until this run.
Carried some people en route back to the red zone for the 7th time, so they give it back to him. And down inside the 10, over 100 for the first time in his Canadian Football League career. He's hit pay dirt for the first time as well.
Now, and this isn't a dance. This is a cutback when he sees that the hole that they were trying to create to the strong side, the right side of the field, wasn't there. So that's just a cutback with downfield momentum, and he's getting back into that form that Chris Jones wanted him in. Low pad level, hit the hole hard.
Second down. Back to Richardson. Down to the 2 and a first down.
And this is game 4. So by game 4 now, he's got that speed down, how quickly you come in and out of the huddle, tempo offense. He's still trying to catch his breath a little bit and get in game shape, but he's getting closer.
Second 100-yard rushing game, and he'll punch it in. Touchdown, Trent Richardson, second of the night. Another emerging weapon, Owens and Richardson, making this Rough Rider team even better. Great power there. Pena adds the extra point.
Get noticed like a pro in the 2017 GMC Sierra Elevation Edition.
So Trent Richardson at 112 yards on the night, 17 carries. That's the best rushing game for a Rough Rider in 2017.
Usually the good backs will get their big plays later in the game when that defense starts to get worn down a little bit, and it's the top end. It's the run 13 to 20. You're right, Chris. Another weapon going into the playoffs. Trent Richardson. Can they get both Richardson and Cameron Marshall on the roster? And remember, Naaman Roosevelt's probably going to be good to go come playoff time. So some decisions for Chris Jones. Some good choices, but some decisions.
Had them both on together, but they've got to manipulate the roster a little bit to do it. Brought down around the 35, so it's a 25-point Saskatchewan lead. The Alouettes have lost 4 by 25 or more, matching the most in Alouette history, done back in '81 and then the '82 Concords. And the 9 consecutive losses, most since '81.
This game done. Now for Montreal, maybe a couple of Nick Lewis catches just to wrap up his career.
Schultz, far side, and Graham can't hang on. I did play-by-play for the '82 Concords. I didn't think it would get worse than the '82 Concords.
There's some of the worst seasons, and this is right up there with them. Now 3-14. Play Hamilton the final week in Hamilton.
Last win was August the 11th. Second and 10. Schultz pumps and goes over the middle, intended for Nick Lewis, incomplete.
Matthew Schultz has seen and experienced now in this second half what Darian Durant had gone through all season. On on the run quite often during blitz because the blitzes weren't picked up. Receivers that are dropping passes, a ton of them tonight. Again, I counted at least 5. And penalties, way too many penalties.
Christian Jones takes this punt. Looks like he might have something on the near side. He gets it to midfield and beyond. And once again, they will start on the Montreal side of half.
So you're a playoff team, Saskatchewan Roughriders. You found some new weapons, new and old. Chad Owen's coming back and has looked fantastic in 2 games. Trent Richardson finding his way. Chris Jones got some decisions there, but what does he need to clean up? Some of those UR penalties after the whistle, for sure. They got to get rid of those going into the playoffs. And maybe green zone production. Touchdowns instead of field goals when you get inside the 20.
And lots of practice tonight. Vernon Adams once again hands it off to Richardson. Down to the 50, about 5 there. As we hit the 3-minute warning.
You know you want to smile.
All the former Alouette quarterbacks in the game tonight enjoying this.
Like that. Yeah.
Another doubleheader tomorrow. Shaw Road to the Grey Cup continues. Lions take on the Blue Bombers. It gets underway at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, and then second half of the doubleheader we'll see the Stampeders in Edmonton to meet the Eskimos at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific across the TSN network.
Darius Bowman back for Edmonton. He's been back, just not producing.
Terrific game last week. Vernon Adams keeper and gets to the 45, should be close to the first down. So Kevin Glenn, a former Alouette quarterback, has put up 24 points in charge of the offense tonight. Brandon Bridge, who was a former Alouette quarterback, put up 6. Vernon Adams out there for the last touchdown, so they've all contributed tonight. And all wore red, white, and blue not so long ago.
Well, the last... Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I was going to go down the road with Kevin Glenn and his time in Montreal. But I don't think Chris Jones is changing a thing. His formula this year has been Glenn will start. And he said it immediately, even going back a couple of weeks where Brandon Bridge put up big numbers against Toronto in the 10-point comeback to win. Played great in that game. Immediately, Chris Jones said, Kevin Glenn's our starter. He's going to start again next week. He's going to start again the week after that. I don't think that formula is going to change at all.
Going to be the 10th win for Saskatchewan. In the last 2, 30-7, impressive against the Stamps in Calgary, and tonight with a sizable lead. So 67-19, they've outscored their opponents in the last 2 weeks. Brandon Stewart. Being asked to leave. And Stewart a little wobbly, I think, and I think the officials just thought he needs attention.
Isn't happy about it, it doesn't look like, but...
Timer. Reset the game clock to read 2:22, please. Thank you.
So Michael Carter will come in. Brandon Stewart showed some fire early in the game, stopping Trent Richardson. It looked like he was pumped up to play Richardson tonight. Didn't want to come out here. But out for 3 plays. 2nd and 8. Back in Richardson's hands. And he's going to be close to a first down. Just short of the 35, had to get over the 35 for the first down, but he's at 126 rushing yards on the night, but now he's come up on the lip and with no weight on that left leg. Well, that's the last thing you want with under 2 minutes to go in a blowout game.
No, but you know, this is how you call the game to run out the clock. You give it to your running back. I mean, this is just unlucky.
No question.
But yeah,
although you could have Greg Morris in at this point.
Yeah, sure, for sure. But yeah, it looked like his ankle got out. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you can go up with a backup in Greg Morris and rest your starter, but you want to grind it down. And remember, this is just game 4 for Trent Richardson. So I think Chris Jones still trying to
get him into
game shape, basically.
Get him into playoff shape. 126 yards, looked like he was really rounding into form.
6.3 yard average tonight.
Greg Morris in now. And it's Owens again. Chad Owens got away. Fights for a few extra yards. But the concern on the sidelines for the ankle of Richardson.
Let's take a look. You can see that the ankle is twisted inside.
Clock rolling, 2nd and 1. And this is Morris. And he's got a first down to the 21. Brandon Stewart checks back in. He tried to check in on the last play and was chased back, but it has been 3 plays now. And I think he just got called back on the sideline, so they don't want Stewart to get back in the game.
Is that Bowman that went and got him? If it was an injury situation, and it looks like that's what it was. That they just didn't take the risk.
It's 11-year vet who may be playing in one of his final games in the CFL. Morris left side. Devon Campbell stepped up and made the tackle.
Yeah, that was very telling from Chad Owens at halftime with Lee when he asked him about how important it is to have this comeback over the last couple of games. And I loved his answer was, when something is taken from you, when the game is taken from you due to injury, you just want to take full advantage of that next opportunity if you get one, and he's done that.
And Chad Owens is our Nissan Titan player of the game.
Well, they just started out getting the ball and feeding him top to bottom, whether it was in the run game with those fly sweeps. He got his first touchdown this season early on in this game, but over 100 yards receiving, breaking tackles, fast twitch is back. Couple good back-to-back games for Chad Owens, and another weapon for Saskatchewan heading into the playoffs.
9 catches, 114 yards, 3 carries for 22. Owens, the Nissan Titan player of the game, brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. So Tavon Campbell heads off. In this final minute, 4th quarter, 2nd down Saskatchewan. Keeper after the play fake, and he's brought down around the 13-yard line.
Brandon Stewart stepped in to make that tackle.
He came in because they needed him to, with Devon Campbell out of the lineup.
31-year-old steps up and makes a tackle. Makes a good tackle there in the open field.
Roughriders will close here at home against Edmonton next week. Final game for Montreal in Hamilton. And the Alouettes will still be looking for their first road win of the season. Third down offense stays out as they'll play out the clock. Should be the final play. Morris. Greg Morris, touchdown! Final play. There is a flag down, however. See if it stands. It's a holding call against Saskatchewan. So the celebration will be short-lived.
Saskatchewan, number 81. A 10-yard penalty, remained third down.
And a tough night for Bakari Grant got a little tougher.
This won't be the one, though, for Bakari Grant with a 37-12 lead and having a late touchdown come out. It'll be the one early in the game when,
So a penalty wipes out a touchdown. An attempted walk into the end zone causes a fumble. Then he ends up 5 yards short of the 1,000-yard season that he still is pursuing for the first time in his 7 years.
What a game to go in that regard.
And one more knee from Vernon Adams. And this is in the books. And for the 5th time this year, the Alouettes lose by 25. And it's the 10th win of the season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, with a game against Edmonton next week in Darian Durant's return to Saskatchewan. An emotional start for him, an injury in the first half that ended his evening after a great ovation. Big night for Trent Richardson and Chad Owens, although we're still unsure of the status of Richardson after a late injury. 37-12 the final.